Negar Mehr from the University of California, Berkeley. She's in robotics, and she talks about multi-agent collaboration. I think that's an interesting problem. And she's coming from control theory. That's where she got trained. And she's using reinforcement learning and modern AI techniques to improve multi-agent decision-making. Now, the problem of multi-agent decision-making actually in principle is already an interesting problem, right? You have, let's say, for example, you have, take the cyber cab network, and you have Optimus robots working on maintaining the cabs, fixing the cabs, cleaning the cabs. So there's, I don't know, let's say 50 robots working on a lot where the cabs come in, get charged, get cleaned. That's a multi-agent collaboration problem. And you can solve that problem by, maybe, subdividing the tasks. So one robot does the charging, the other robot does the fixing, the third robot does the cleaning. Or you could have a more dynamic model where the robots, more like humans maybe, in a less structured environment, just sort of pick up the slack. Okay, let me do this. Why don't you do that? But what I found really most interesting here is the collaboration, right? Collaboration is one of the biggest achievements of humans. And there's some animals, they collaborate, wolves, dolphins and so on. But humans are really good at collaboration, in particular when it comes to, for example, companies and the whole Coase theorem and why do people even work in companies. Now we can collaborate in companies, we can collaborate as agents. I think this problem is general, not just for artificial intelligence, but also for human intelligence, right? I mean, there's a whole slew of research, for example, in business organizational theory. You ask yourself, okay, how can we organize people around tasks? Then we have the army, military, of course. How can we attack, with 10 Navy SEALs? How can we take out the target? So there's a lot of these types of problems where I think we're still doing the research. Like there is no optimal way of collaboration. And I think what Negar Mehr is working on is an unsolved problem. It's not just an AI robotics problem, it's a general problem, and I just find it very interesting. I think this is one of those presentations, the link's in the show notes, where you start looking at it, and the more you look at it, the more interesting it becomes, and the more questions you ask, and the more answers you get, and the more answers you get, even more questions, and so forth. But one thing I want to talk about a little bit more is her use of large language models in actually modeling reward functions. So you have, let's say, a bunch of robots working together, and you have a large language model acting like a coach, like literally like a sports coach, subdividing the tasks, giving rewards. And I think those are very interesting approaches. And I think large language models could be used for that, and they are used for that. And I think Negar also had some pretty good success. Now, why are large language models good for that? Well, one, they have semantic understanding. They can actually understand what it means to pursue a goal, and they have a good sense for how to subdivide a task to achieve that goal. So I think this is a very promising area of research, and I would be very interested in taking more deeper look into that.